President, please be seated. The court is back in session. And again, the floor is given to the co-prosecutors to continue putting questions to the witness. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I only have a few more questions before I turn the microphone over to my national colleague. Mr. Witness, as far as you know, had the Cham women and children that were arrested and taken to Wat Otrakon Pagoda, had they done anything to warrant their arrest? Is there any reason that they were arrested?
President, witness, please hold on, and Counsel Copper, you have the floor.
I object also to this question, Mr. President, as beyond the realm of knowledge of this witness. He had no participation in any of the security forces or in any office within the security. If I see people being arrested in the morning, I also wouldn't know without any insider knowledge of why people are arrested. So it's simply beyond his knowledge. That's why I object.
Mr. President, if I could respond, I clearly limited the question to his knowledge, and he's entitled to respond as regards his knowledge. If he has any information, we can further explore, or defense counsel can further explore where that information comes from, but he's certainly entitled to provide evidence or knowledge that he has regarding why the Cham might have been arrested.
The objection by the defense counsel is overruled, and Mr. Witness, please respond to the last question put to you by the deputy co-prosecutor. Mr. Prosecutor, please repeat the last question. Thank you.
As far as you know, was there any reason that the Cham were arrested in your village by the security forces?
I myself was not aware on the arrest of the Cham people. And the Cham people who were arrested were innocent Cham people. They did not do anything wrong, and they strived to work very hard.
During the Khmer Rouge period, did you see any arrests of persons that were not Cham in your village?
No, I did not see that.
Mr. Witness, I'd like to get your explanation of a comment you made in your written record of interview to further understand why you made that comment. And this is at E3/5301, English ERN 002-10483, Khmer ERN 006-35169, French ERN 006-22400. And this is what you said. You said, quote, "I don't know why the Cham were gathered and taken to Otrakon. I know that in 1977 there was intensive killing. I believe they did not want ethnic Cham to live in this village or in Cambodia." Can you explain to the court why you made that statement and what you meant by it?
I made that statement that in 1977 the killing became widespread because other people said in the areas that they lived in, the Khmer Rouge purged the Cham people on a massive scale. In addition, in my commune, new people came to settle from Phnom Penh, and there were about 10 families. And later on, they disappeared and never returned. And that happened in 1977 when they were told to work elsewhere and they never returned. So it was my conclusion that there was a purge going on in 1977.
And why did you say, quote, I believe they did not want ethnic Cham to live in this village or in Cambodia, close quote?
During the Pol Pot regime, which was led by the Khmer Rouge group, they only wanted to have one pure race. They even killed their own Khmer people, so they would not spare any other ethnicity, including the Cham race.
Thank you. I have one final question, and it's relation to something that you said earlier. You mentioned that shortly after the arrival of the Khmer Rouge in Angkor Ban commune, the Cham were transferred out of Angkor Ban 1 and 3 villages. Can you give us an approximate number of months after the arrival of the Khmer Rouge that the Cham were transferred out of those 2 villages?
I cannot say for how many months, but I knew that in the early months when the Khmer Rouge did not come to take charge yet, there were Cham people living in Angkor Ban 1 and 3 villages. And during the period of the Democratic Cambodia, Cham people were no longer allowed to live in villages 1 and 3 respectively, and they had been evacuated elsewhere during that regime.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. Thank you, Mr. President. I have no further questions. I'd like to turn the microphone over to my national colleague.
National Deputy Co-Prosecutor, good afternoon, Mr. President, Your Honors, and good afternoon, everyone in and around the courtroom, and good afternoon, Mr. Witness. My name is Seng Liang. I am a National Deputy Co-Prosecutor. I have some questions to put to you. And before I go into the topic of interest, I'd like to ask for some clarifications in your responses to my international counterpart. You were asked by my colleague and it refers to your previous statement, that is E3/5301, and in Khmer is 006368. In English 00210483, and in French 00. The speaker speaks too fast. Please slow down. Ian in French is 00622400. In that document, you said that the Khmer Rouge didn't want the Cham ethnicity to live in the village or in Cambodia, And you continue saying that the Cham people who were arrested from my village did not make any mistake. They worked hard day and night, and to my understanding that they were arrested purely because they were Cham people. And my question to you is that how you came to make that conclusion? And I reached that conclusion. President, Mr. Witness, please hold on, and Council Kong Sam On, please take the floor. Kong Sam On, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to object to this question. And in fact, this is a reconfirmation to the confirmation that was already made. The witness already stated that that statement was his personal conclusion, and that would not help in ascertaining the truth. And the witness is not an expert in this field. For that reason, I object to this question seeking for reconfirmation of the previous statement.
No.
Prosecutor. Mr. President, allow me to respond. What I just quoted is the statement made by this very witness, and for that reason, I'd like to seek for his reason that led him to reach that conclusion. President, Mr. Witness, you are instructed not to respond to this question, and Deputy Co-Prosecutor, you already know that it is the standing proceeding that you should not seek to seek assumption or presumption made by the witness. Prosecutor, thank you, Mr. President. I now move on to the topic of the administrative structure. And Mr. Witness, do you know who was the secretary of Kong district at the time? That is when the country was under the control of the Khmer Rouge. And to my knowledge, under the Khmer Rouge regime, the district chief was Khan. He was sent from the southwest to become a district chief in my area. Question. You said Khan was reassigned from the southwest zone. And when did that happen? When did he become the Kong district chief? Answer as to which year, I am not sure. I know that Khan came to chair meetings in Koban village, and he said that he was the district chief and that he was assigned from the southwest zone. And he came to chair the meeting in 1977. Question. So you're not sure as to when he arrived in your area? Answer, yes, that is correct. I am just an ordinary villager, and I did not know the precise time. Question. And do you know who was in charge of security at Wat O Trokun? Answer, yes, I do. It was Horn who was in charge of the security in O Trokun Pagoda or Wat O Trokun. Question, and where did Horn come from? Answer, I knew through Khan, the district chief, who actually was accompanied by Horn, and he made the announcement to the people that Horn also came from the southwest together with him. Question. So, according to what you know, Khan said that the Horn came along with him, but you're not sure as to when. Am I correct? Answer. I do not know as to which year they came. Question. Can you tell the court when, upon the arrival of Khan and Horn, was it at the time that the 15 Cham people were detained? Answer. The rest of the Cham, or the 15 Cham people took place under the reign of Khan and Horn. Question. Do you know about some other events, for example, on the replacement of the East cadres by the Southwest cadres? Answer. No, I don't. President. Defense Counsel for Nunchia, Counsel Coppert, you have the floor.
No objection, Mr. President, but in my translation I heard the question replacement of East Zone cadres. I think we are in Sector 41 in the Northern Zone, Central Zone.
Prosecutor, Mr. President, I apologize. Maybe I made a mistake. I meant the Central Zone. Question. And were you aware of any relationship between Khan and Horn? Did you know about the way they communicated? Answer. What I know was that Khan was the district chief and Horn was in charge of the district security, and he bears a right in the ward Otakun. Question. And when did you come to know about Otakun Pagoda? Answer. I know the pagoda very clearly, as it is not far from my village, and since when I was young, usually my family would go to attend the religious ceremonies in that pagoda. Question. You means that before you were instructed to take the Cham people to Otakun Pagoda, were you aware that the pagoda was transformed into a security center? Answer. I knew, because when I was assigned to transport them, I knew that those people were being taken to that security center. Question. So, you had known about the pagoda transformed into the security center before you were instructed to take those people to? Answer. Otakun Pagoda had been transformed into the security center right after the Khmer Rouge took charge in the area. And it does not mean that I only knew when I took those Cham people there. I had known about this much earlier. Mr. President, in the interest of time, I'd like to cede the floor to the lead co-lawyers for civil parties to put questions to this witness. President, the floor is now given to the lead co-lawyers for civil parties to put questions to this witness. You may proceed. Good afternoon, Mr. President. I'd like to seek your permission to assign Hong Kum Soon, lawyer for civil parties, to put questions to this witness. President, yes, you may proceed. And Hong Kum Soon, you have the floor. Hong Kum Soon, thank you, Mr. President. And good afternoon, Mr. President, Your Honors, and everyone. Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. My name is Hong Kum Soon. I'm from the Cambodia Defense for project, and I have some questions for you today. You already responded to many questions by the co-prosecutors, and I have some supplementary questions to put to you. You already spoke at length about the relationship between the Khmer people and the Cham people, and that you said you live in the Angkor Ban village, in Angkor Ban commune for almost the entire life. And the Cham people were living in the adjacent villages, that is Angkor Ban 1 and Angkor Ban 3. So does it mean that you lived in Angkor Ban 2, right? Answer. In the Angkor Ban commune, there were 9 villages, namely Angkor Ban 1, 2, 3 up to Angkor Ban 9. And Angkor Ban 2 is my home village, and it's the village that I have lived, and I'm still living in this village. Question. And how many Khmer villages in the Angkor Ban commune? Answer. In the Angkor Ban commune, as I said, there are 9 villages, and in Angkor Ban 1 and 3, the majority of people living there are Cham, but there was a small number of the Khmer families, and at the moment, at the present time, half of the people living in these 2 villages are Khmer and half are Cham. Question. My question is about the time before the Khmer Rouge regime, and then it went through the period of 1975, and later on through another period of 1979. And through all these stages, did any of the village names change? Answer. In village Angkor Ban 1, it actually was called Antung So, and under the Khmer Rouge regime, it was referred to as Unit 1. So Unit 1 referred to Village 1. Question. I'd like to put some questions to you in relation to the relationship between the Cham people. And you said that you were not that close to the Cham community. And you said there was a common road in the village that was used by both the Cham and the Khmer people. And my question to you is about the period before the arrival of the Khmer Rouge to control your area. Do you know how many Cham people were living in Angkor Ban commune before the Khmer Rouge regime? Answer. It is only my estimate, as at the time I did not know for certain as to the total number of people, in particular in the two respective villages. So for that reason, I rather not to give you my rough estimate. Question, let me put you in a different way. Because you lived adjacent to the Cham villages, although you do not know the precise number, can you tell me at least about the majority of the people living in your adjacent villages? Were they Cham or Khmer? Answer. Allow me to give you a comparison. In terms of the Cham people living in the villages at present, and I like to tell you that at the moment I am the commune chief, and the total number of the Cham people now was not much different from the Cham living in the previous regime. And currently there are about 400 Cham families living in my commune. Question, you cannot give us an estimate of the total population living in your commune. And what about for the specific period that is after the 6th January 1979? That is for the first year of in 1979. Can you tell the court how many Cham people lived in that commune? After the Pol Pot regime was toppled in 1979, in Angkor Ban villages 1 and 3, no Cham people came to live yet. There were no Cham people at all. Question. So you said that successively the Cham people keep coming to live in the two villages. Am I correct? Allow me to ask you again, since there is no response. So the Cham people who came to live in the area, were they new Cham from other area, or were they the Cham who lived there in the previous regime? Answer, through my observation, the Cham people who came to live in the Angkor Ban commune and who are still living at present, they actually came in around 1982 and 1983, and from my questions to them, they came from various provinces, including Pusat and Battambang.
Question. Now I'm moving to the treatment of Cham people. I have follow-up question continuing from those of co-prosecutor. You made mention that you were eating meal when Khmer Rouge soldier came to arrest Cham people. I would like you to tell the court if Cham people were separated to eat in a separate group at that time. Answer. During the Khmer Rouge period, we had a communal eating within the same hall. Question. Can you tell the court whether there were distinct meals or foods for Cham people? Answer. During meal time, we had the same food or meal to eat. For instance, if we were given a dish to eat, and then the Cham people would receive the same thing. Counsel, thank you. In relation to meal or food, you told the court already that Cham people did not eat pork. So during mealtime, were Cham people forced to eat pork? Answer. In relation to eating pork, I did not hear the unit chief say that Cham people had to eat pork. However, as I told you already, we had the same meal on the table. Question. Did you notice what happened to Cham people if they did not agree to eat pork? Were Cham people tortured if they did not eat pork? President, it is a conditional question, so this kind of question is prohibited by the chamber. Lawyer, thank you, Mr. President. I would like to rephrase my question. During the meal time within that hall, were Cham people forced to eat pork? Answer. Regarding food or dishes, I did not know exactly at that time. I was sometimes ploughing the field, and I left for work in the morning, and I returned back to my home in the evening. So I rarely congregated with Cham people, and when it came to meal time, we had the same dishes or meal to eat. Whether Cham people ate pork or not, I have no idea. I did not pay attention to that matter. Counsel, thank you. Now I want to ask you about the arrests of Cham people in 1977 when you were eating meal before the arrests. Were meetings held among your villagers to inform about the arrests? Or were you convened to secret meetings and informed about the transportation of Cham people? Answer. I was not part of the group who was in charge of transporting the Cham people. I was not a regular member within that transportation group. No, we were not informed in advance before we were assigned to transport Cham peoples. While we were eating meals, the security forces came and then arrests were made. Counsel, thank you. You made a mention that mostly women and children were arrested. Did the security force come and arrest those women and children right away without asking names first? Answer. Regarding this matter, I do not have a clear knowledge. At that time, while I was eating meal, the arrests were made. Rund was a local person within the village, so he knew very well who were Cham people. Perhaps at that time, Rund himself made the arrest of Cham people. I did not she wouldn't order anyone to point out who were jams or who were not jam. I was very afraid of the situation at that time. Council were jam offended at that time.
បាទ
Answer. During the time after jam people had been arrested, the chief of village scolded jam people that they betrayed Angkar. That is why there were purges against them. Council. So how did they arrest jam people? Were jam people's hands tied at the time? Council, Mr. President, it is a repeated question. Lawyer, regarding the fact that whether jams people hands were tied or not, I have not put any questions in relation to that incident yet. President, the objection by the council for the accused is overruled. Mr. Winner, you are instructed to respond to the question. Witness. Their hands were tied to a nylon string behind their backs, and they were not blind folded. Council, a while ago I asked if jam people were offended, and now could you tell the court whether jam people were beaten and kicked? Answer. After their hands were tied up, no beatings, no kicking. However, they were all pushed or thrown onto the ox carts. Small children were thrown onto the ox carts, and for older jam people, they were pushed onto the ox carts. Council, you made mention that there were 4 or 5 ox carts transporting jam people to the district security center. During the trip, were jam people prohibited from crying, from talking to one another at the time? Answer. I did not hear unit chief or security force prohibit jam people from crying or from talking to one another. However, during the trip, jam people were sitting very quietly. Council. So when you reach the gate of the pagoda, so how did jam people leave the outskirts? So what happened then? Answer. Elder jam people got off the outskirts by themselves, and as for small children, we, the drivers of the outskirts, helped the children out of the outskirts, and sometimes we even carried the children off the outskirts. So I would like to know the one who received the jam people, was he a civilian or a soldier? Asked the council. Answer. The one who received jam people was not known by me. I did not see his face because during the time it was so dark. But we were told that after we drop off jam people, we could go back home. Question. You made mention about husbands who had transferred elsewhere to further places. Did you ever see those husbands returned to villages? Answer. Regarding the husbands, I have never seen them back, and even today, I have not seen them rather. Council. You have told the President and the Chamber about the intensive purges in 1977. A while ago, you stated about the purges. I have a question for you. Did you ever witness corpses lying close to your village? Answer. Regarding corpses, they died. I noticed that people died and corpses were floating in the river during the flooding season. I heard from others that there were killings at different places. Lawyer, thank you. You stated that Cham people did not commit any mistakes when they were arrested. What about Khmer people? Were they taken away and killed? Answer. There were new people evacuated from Phnom Penh and they were deposited to live in my village. And these new people disappeared from time to time, and no more new people from Phnom Penh in my village. And I think perhaps they had been taken away and killed. Council, did they make any mistakes? That is why they had been arrested? Answer. All I know is that new people did not commit any wrongdoings. They were working very hard in the field with base people. Council, thank you. You made mention of a person by the name Run. Run, as said by you, was a chief, and Horn was a security center chief at Otrakuan Pagoda. Beside the two, did you know the names of sector or zone chiefs? Answer. Regarding district chief, his name was Gan. As for sector committees, there were Tang and Srein who were part of sector committee. I have never known the two guys. However, I heard people say that they were part of a sector committee. Question. You made mention that there were cadres from Southwest Zone. So were the two individuals you have just mentioned from Southwest Zone? Answer. I heard people say that Tang and Sein were in positions at the same time when Kan was district chief. Question. Did they come from Southwest Zone, or did they come before the Southwest Zone cadres came? Answer. They were together with Khan during the meeting. Council. Do you know the district, the sector numbers? What number was assigned, was designated to that sector in your area? Answer. I do not know what number was designated to the sector. Council. Did the sector have a name or have any designated number? Answer. I have no knowledge of the designated number or name of that sector. Lawyer. Thank you. Because you were living in Angkor Ban and you have been living there until now. Have you ever visited the security center at Otokun Pagoda? Answer. After 1979, I did not visit or enter the Otokun Security Center. Question. Did you join the group who are searching for the survivor from Otokun Pagoda? Answer. I attended a meeting immediately after Pol Pot regime was toppled. There were meetings after the regime held by district committee, and we heard in the meeting that about 30,000 people were killed by Pol Pot in the security center at Otokun Pagoda, and we learned this number in the meetings. Question. Did you witness the remaining, the scalps or bones at Otokun Security Center? Answer. Yes. I used to see the scalps and bones remaining from the regime. Now, there is a stupa, and bones and scalps were collected and placed inside the stupa, and there are ceremonies held annually for the deceased. Question. Did you know whether there were other security centers used by Khmer Rouge at the time and people were killed at those centers? Answer. I have no idea, Mr. Lawyer. Lawyer. Thank you, Mr. President. I am done with my questioning. Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. President. Thank you. So we finished early this afternoon compared to the morning sessions, and we may take the break now. But first, you have the floor now, Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to inform you that we don't have any questions. I don't know how the Kyo Sampan team has questions. If they have only 10 minutes or 15 minutes, we could finish today. Just a suggestion.
President, thank you very much for the information. You have the floor now, counsel, for Mr. Kyo Sampan. And can you tell the chamber how much time you will need for questioning this witness? If you need very little time, we may continue, and we If you need much time, you may start tomorrow.
I apologize to disappoint my colleague Victor Koppe, but I will need more time than 10 minutes.
President, so you can start the questioning now if you need only 10 or 15 minutes, because we may allow the witness to return to his residence afterwards. President, so how much time you need, counsel? It is now 7 to 4.
I think there was a problem in the interpretation. I said that I will need more than 10 minutes, so it's going to be impossible for me to begin questioning this witness today. So I think if you want to adjourn now, I don't know exactly how long I will need, maybe 45 minutes. It will depend, of course, on the witness's answers. But for sure, it will be more than up until 4 o'clock, that's for sure.
President. Mr. Quay, do you have something you want to say? Witness. Thank you, Mr. President, Your Honors. Could you tell me how much time I will have to spend before the chamber? So could you finish the hearing of my testimony by tomorrow? Because I have been away from my house for 3 days and I am a commune chief. I have something to do. President, we are trying to conclude hearing your testimony. However, more than 10 minutes, cannot be used during this time. So I believe tomorrow we will not spend much time to hear you as a witness. It is now time for the adjournment. The chamber will adjourn now and we will resume our hearing tomorrow, 10 September 2015 at 9 a.m. Tomorrow, the chamber will continue to hear witness Seng Kui. Please be informed. And please be here on time. Thank you, Mr. Seng Kui. The hearing of your testimony as a witness has not come to an end yet. You are therefore invited to be here again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Court officer, in collaboration with the West Sus, please send Mr. Kui back to the place where he is staying at the moment, and please invite him back into the courtroom at 9 a.m. Security personnel are instructed to bring Mr. Kisampon and Nunchia back to the detention facility of the ECCC and have them returned tomorrow before 9 a.m. The court is now adjourned.